Hey everybody, and welcome to Hex Token channel. Your host Superman in the house, and of course we have a special double session show. And we're having two shows today. Basically, it's a crazy time, but of course I thought we would sort of hang out and have a bit of a learning session, a browse session, and look at what the Ethereum proof of stake fork, and of course with Ethereum. And then look at what Pulsechain is going to be. So it's going to be a bit of fun. We're going to hang out, and anyway, hope they won't jumble my words too much here tonight. It is getting late, but I thought, hey, why not? Let's get into it. We've also got a bit of a rebound on the Hex price there, up almost back to 4.8 cents, having a really good go, trying to get back over 5 cents, I guess. So that's pretty cool on the Hex price. We might look at that towards the end of the live stream. But at the moment, we're going to get into how the Ethereum proof of stake chain works. And of course, then we're going to, obviously, Pulsechain is coming up. That is going to be founded by Richard Hart. And of course, he's going to fork Ethereum. Currently got 4 clients up and running and testing, with Aragon being the last one. So we're going to have Prism, Lighthouse for the consensus, and Geth and Aragon for the execution clients. So it's going to be very exciting indeed. All right, we're currently on beaconchar.in, so it's beaconchar.in, and I'll put a copy of this actually in the chat there, in case you want to save this to your favorites. Definitely get into that. This is basically a window into the Ethereum chain and all the blocks and transactions and epochs and slots and all that sort of stuff. We're going to look at this today and have a bit of fun, just to hang out. And hope you guys enjoy it as we go. Now, if you've got a lot of insights, get into the chat and let us know. We really appreciate that. So let's see who's in the house. We got Hex Huddle. Good to see Hex Huddle. And we got Francis is in a while. Hello. Hex Huddle says 12:30 a.m. Let's go. Yeah, definitely let's go, Hex Huddle. And Scott Jackson in the house. They're very exciting times ahead. I think so, Scott. I think it's going to absolutely be crazy. We're just warming up, that's for sure. Hey, look at the bounce back in the Hex price today. Back up to 4.8 almost, and just goes to show you, people understand Pulsechain and are valuing it properly. It's going to be pretty exciting. Special stream, let's go, says Briz. Absolutely, Briz. Looking forward to more artwork from you, Briz. That's all I can say. And of course, Hexodal says, did we talk about the SEC staking news? Yeah, I did talk about that in full on my first live stream today, Hexodal. So that was today. You can go check the timestamp under the crypto market update. So if you want to go check that out on my previous video. I've been putting timestamps on the videos too for my daily lives because they're getting long, hour 15, hour 30, hour 45. So I do put the timestamps there so people can jump to the sections they like. That's for sure. Hexodal says some kind of meeting tomorrow. They have more about that. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more evolving in that space. Really, it's the intermediaries that are probably the target there. DeFi is going to be a much harder one to handle. We'll see how they go about that. Seems like it's about a centralized exchange staking with an intermediary. Yeah, absolutely. It's you front run me on that comment. I just caught up with that one. All right, so cool. Hexodal says I was here sleeping all day. Nice one. All right, you're awake now. Woohoo! All right, let's get into it, folks. So here we are on beaconchar.in, and you can see Ethereum's blockchain operating. It's very, very cool. So let's see what we've got here in terms of terminology. We've got the epochs here. We've got the current slot. We've got active validators, pending validators. We've got staked ether in there. We've got average balance of ETH as well. So at the top, you can't probably see it too well, but we've got this little bar that gets filled up every time there's an epoch, and we're going to look at what those terminologies mean. So I'm just going through a big overview first. We've got 32 slots left in epoch at 180,192, and we're going to try and understand what's going on there. On the left here, we've got the ETH balance, and on the right, we've got the active validators in play at the moment. And of course, you can see that there are 514,734 validators. So how many are we going to have on Pulsechain? Let me know in the chat what you think. I know some of you are experienced enough to have a good stab at that. How many do you think that we might be over on Pulsechain when it forks off Ethereum? So that's going to be pretty cool. Now, let's have a look here. So most recent epochs, we got that here, or epochs, you might say. And, of course, every 6 minutes, there's a ticking over. So we're going to see why there's an even gap between that. So we've got the epochs here down on the left, and then we've got the time as well. We've got whether it's final or no. So these ones are just being attested by the validators. So that's going through. We've got eligible, calculating, and we can see the calculating that's relating to this bar at the top. See this bar? just got completed, 180,192, and we can see that there, 180,092, and it's calculating that final vote there. Pretty cool. So we can actually see these ones are actually confirmed in the epochs, and they've got the eligible ETH that's available. That's all staked. And of course, they've got the vote there, 16,410,483. So 99.63% is pretty good. So that's not 100% of all the ETH staked, but pretty close. Now, on the right-hand side, we haven't got the epochs. We've got the eras. And of course, with the epochs there, it's 32. So 32 epochs before you move on to the next epoch. So you can see there's 180,193. We've got 4 of those so far. There's another 28 to go, right? Or 27 now, because there's another one there. Now, on the other ones here, we've got the 180,192 epochs here. And, of course, next to that is the slot. We've got the slots that go in there. Then we've got the blocks. Of course, in the blockchain, you have transactions. And the blocks, in the blockchain, they connect together and transactions go in there. And the validators do the consensus. They confirm that blockchain. And, of course, the execution, doing the transactions, smart contracts, and things like that. So it ticks along pretty nicely. We've got the status here, proposed and scheduled. We've got the time between these blocks. Remember that Ethereum runs on 12-second block times, and so you can see the basic difference between these at the moment. And then, of course, you got the proposer. So out of all the validators, one person gets to be the proposer there, and all the other validators out of 128, basically 127, are going to be the proposers. So let's get into some of the terminology. And quick, before we do that, we're going to go to Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, or one of the co-founders of Ethereum. And of course, probably the most well-known out of them all, the young, brilliant genius there, who likes to sell Ethereum on everybody's heads. But let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the technicality here. How does ETH2 proof of stake work? And of course, this is from notes.ethereum.org, and this is by Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum. And it goes, the participants in ETH2 proof of stake consensus are called validators. And of course, that's going to become a very popular term in Pulsechain, because we're going to have validators around the world for Pulsechain as well. Now, you can set up a node for the chain, but you don't have to be a validator. In other words, you don't have to stake 32 ETH. And of course, in Pulsechain, that's going to be 32 million Pulse equivalent, which is around about $3,200 at the sacrifice price. So that gives you an idea. So imagine if Pulsechain does a 100x, you can imagine it's going to get pretty expensive to become a validator, just like it is reasonably expensive to be a validator on Ethereum if you've got 32 ETH. So to become a validator, you need to deposit 32 ETH. So if you got a bit of cash, that's let's round it up at 2,000. That's around about 60,000 bucks, 64,000 bucks. So it's not chump change for a lot of people, either from the ETH1 chain or from a shard chain. When shard chains become enabled, obviously that's something in the future. Once you deposit 32 ETH, you are put into an activation queue. And of course, sometime later you'll become an active validator. You'll get a special selected, especially for that. Time on the beacon chain is divided into epochs. So we talked about that on the actual beacon chart block view there. And of course, we can see the epochs on the left. We can see all the details on the blocks on the right there. And of course, we get the headline, the latest ones at the very top here. You can see at the moment the slots are trying to be filled for this epoch. And it's ticking away there, 14 out of 32. And as it gets filled, it goes over to the right there. So there's another one. There's only 13 left and 2 to fill. And once it's all those are gone, all 32, that will be down to that will be fully dark on this line. It's pretty cool to see that in real time. Anyway, so time on the beacon chain is divided into epochs and slots. Each slot is 12 seconds long. And of course, if the chain started today at 2 o'clock, the current time is 1:06, so that's what the time would be. Then you're in the middle of slot 5. Slot numbers start counting from 0. An epoch is a period of 32 slots. So just remember that. So one epoch is 32 slots. So you can see that on the actual live Ethereum block view there. And of course, we can see the epochs and all the blocks in here. So it's pretty easy to see that. So each slot is 12 seconds long. And of course, on Pulsechain, this is going to be 10 seconds long. This is the target amount, 10 seconds. And so that's going to make, instead of the total time, we'll have a look at that. So an epoch is a period of 32 slots. And of course, if it's at 32 times 10 seconds is what? It's 6.4 minutes. And of course, a Pulsechain is going to have 10-second block times. So 32 times 10 seconds, that's going to be 5 minutes and 33 seconds. So it's going to be faster than the Ethereum chain. And that means, what does it mean? It means we're probably going to have more transactions, we have more, potentially a higher APY for validators, and of course more burning. So it's actually kind of a cool mechanism there. So it's pretty cool. Now there are also longer time units by convention, a period of 2048 epochs, 9.1 days, and it is called an EEK. We don't have an EEK on that, of course. That's an Ethereum week. Some operations on the beacon chain that take a long time can be measured in EEKs. So if that's a new term that you've heard, that's pretty cool. Now during each epoch, each validator makes an attestation. That's a word you should get familiar with the blockchain. An attestation, it's a bit tongue twister as well, contains a hash of what the validator thinks is the head of the beacon chain, the same concept as the head of the chain in the proof of work. And of course, a hash of what the validator thinks is the correct shard block, to include some other hashes as well, source and target. And of course, a signature from the validator proving that the validator endorses all of the above. The chain comes to consensus as a result of these attestations. And of course, that's very important as a validator. You're going to be attestation there. Roughly speaking, if 2/3 of the active validators sign in an attestation supporting a block, that block becomes finalized. In reality, it's more complex, taking 2 rounds of signing. See the Casper FFG paper for that. Obviously, they condense down all these validators. A finalized block can never be reverted, unlike a proof of work where any block can be reverted if someone creates an even longer chain. So that's some of the stuff there. If validator correctly makes attestations, they get rewarded. If validator misses their slot or makes an incorrect attestation, they get penalized. If validator unambiguously contradicts themselves, e.g. votes for 2 conflicting blocks in the same epoch, they get slashed. So if you heard the term slash, that means they get penalized. A slashed validator suffers a penalty of 3 to 100% of their deposit. Number 2 is forcibly ejected from the validator set, and 3 has their coins forcibly locked in for an additional 4 EEKs. That's 4 weeks on ETH time before they can withdraw. In general, as long as you're running correct validator software, this will not happen to you, and as long as you stay online for more than 55 to 70% of the time, validating will be profitable. A validator can voluntarily initiate and exit at any time, but there is a limit on how many can exit per epoch. And if too many validators try to exit at the same time, they will be put in a queue and will remain active until they get to the front of the queue. A validator successfully exits after 1/8 of an EEK, and that is an Ethereum week. They will be able to withdraw. This functionality will only be turned on after the merge, obviously, which has happened now. So that is a bit of a summary from Vitalik himself. I presume that all of those details ended up finalizing there. Particularly, this is definitely finalized, and that's what we see on the view. So we see these epoch areas, so 32 epochs, and of course all the slots get filled in there. They've all got an increasing number, incremental one there, sequential, and you can see that going through 5,766,216 is the latest slot. And of course, the latest block on Ethereum is 16,597,239. Now, when Pulsechain forks Ethereum, of course, there's going to be a particular block that's going to be chosen, and that's going to be fun to see that play out. Obviously, we're going to have one for testnet, and of course, we're going to have one for the mainnet. So you want to have all your assets on the Ethereum blockchain at that particular time. And excuse me, you can see the 12-second block times. As I say, Pulsechain is going to have 10-second block times, and therefore be at about 5 minutes and 33 seconds as opposed to 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And so that's very important to remember. Now we do have. I'm going to post this note here by Vitalik in the chat there, and we're going to catch up to some of the comments that we might have on that one, since we've covered those 2 topics. Posts. You can check that out. So that is cool. That is Vitalik's post there, so you can check that one out. Let's go back up to the comments here. Probably got a few people in the house. So let's catch up here. We've got 15 people so far at the moment. Who is here? So let's jump through some of that. Francis there with the fire, like that. And Hex Token says 500,000 validators all trying to get paid. No wonder gas is expensive, says Hex Token. That's pretty funny, Hex Token. What's up, folks? We've got Brian in the house. Good to see Brian, one of our 2 community leaders. Awesome, Brian. What are you doing? Hex Token, what are you doing up? Taco Bell, you got you wired. No, Hex Token normally goes for, isn't it, goes for the McDonald's in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning? Pretty sure. Let me know, Hex Token, if I'm right about that. I'm pretty sure. Pulsechain win, sir, says DB Cooper. 1 day closer. I thought we'd do a bit of a fun educational session on this live stream, which we don't tend to do, unless you call normal live streams like that. Against the defined stake, well, the Hex Total's onto the staking there. So we're going to jump past the staking there, Hex Total. It's not really the topic of today's live stream. Let's jump over here. Brisology says peak Pulsechain week. I like that, Bris. That's really cool, man. That is very, very cool. I like that. Well done, man. A peak. Yeah, that's really cool. Good thinking there. Hexol says ETH2 staking. This is about rather. Yep, definitely. Coinbase offers 4% on USDC holdings, says Hexol. He's still on to the staking there, Hexol. You're on the wrong live stream, Hexol. You should be on the staking live stream. Hexol says, I had Taco Bell earlier. Yeah, I mentioned that in another stream. Oh, I see. Cool. All right, let's jump over to here. So that is a bit of the summary there from Vitalik. Let's have a look at some of the breakdowns on Beacon Chain itself. And of course, just to summarize, one epoch equals 32 slots, represents the number of 32 slots and takes approximately 6.4 minutes. And of course, when we go to the actual view, you can see these slots just ticking through really, really fast with the timer there. So pretty cool. So 32 of these slots are going to go through every 6.4 minutes, or 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And you can see the timer there as well ticking over. That's pretty cool. The epochs play an important role when it comes to validator queue and finality. Deposit contract, of course, deposit contract is the gateway to Ethereum 2 through a smart contract on Ethereum 1. Smart contract accepts any transaction with a minimum amount of 1 ETH and valid input data. Ethereum 2 beacon node listen to the deposit contract and use the input data to credit each validator. So it's kind of cool. We're going to jump through some of this. Validator. If you're going to be a validator on Ethereum, you're going to need a 32 Ethereum. And of course, if you're going to be one on Pulsechain when it launches, you're going to need 32 million Pulse, which, like I said earlier, is about $3,200 based on the sacrifice price. Who knows what it will be when the Pulsechain launches. And it's like going to move around a lot in terms of value. Now, there will be other alternatives. So on Pulsechain, on Ethereum, you can do solo staking, you can do pooled staking, you can do staking on centralized exchanges. I think there's the top 3 methods you can do it. I'm sure there's a few others that are out there, maybe particularly if you haven't got 32 ETH. So pooled staking, typically if you've got 32 ETH, you can do it like that. And I think centralized exchanges also allow you to do that. But if you're solo staking, you will need 32 ETH and set up your node, your own software node and all sorts of stuff. But you can use dedicated small computers for that. And that's probably the best way to go. So validators need to deposit 32 ETH into the validated deposit contract for the Ethereum 1 chain. Validator nodes have to run a validator node. It's a job is to propose blocks and sign attestations there. Obviously, one of them gets chosen to do the consensus as well, selecting that block as we said earlier. The validator has to be online for at least 50% of the time. It says here. Obviously, Vitalik was a bit higher than that. And so forth. So deposit has to be recognized by the ETH2 chain at the timestamp of eligible for activation. If there's a queue of pending validators, estimated timestamp for activation is calculated. So that's some of the cool things there. Let's jump through some of this. We talked about slashing earlier. Attestations, votes by validators, which confirm the validity of a block. So most of them there, remember there's 128 of them get selected, and 127 of them do the attestation, and then because there's over 500,000 validators, right? So they have to select these 128. Now, when we got an update from Richard Hart, we got a little picture of this. As you can see, it's the same as the Ethereum one here, a Beacon Chain fork, and of course they forked this for Pulsechain testnet, and we could see that from Richard Hart. So he posted this. And we can see the differences here. We got 10-second block times down here on the epoch slots blocks. So we've got 10-second block times there rather than 12 seconds as we have on Ethereum. And of course, we can see on here, they've only got 256 of active validators. Remember, 128 in each set. And of course, the one chooses the block, and then the other ones do the attestation there. And that they're obviously just cycling through these two groups at 128. So that's the play there. Now, obviously, the staked here, they've only got 8,192 Pulse. Obviously, for Ethereum, it's not going to be like that in real. When mainnet goes live or testnet goes live, there'll be lots of people putting their Pulse in there. But at the moment, you can see that the staked ETH is 16.5 million ETH. So there's about 123 million ETH, as I remember last time. So you can see that's a sort of a percentage of that. So let's have a quick look at what the percentage, 16.5, say, divided by, was it 122, let's say, for argument's sake, about 13.5% of ETH is staked as a validator. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, the average is 34 ETH, so that makes sense because you 32 ETH. So I think people just got slightly more than that in there. So active validators is 514,734 around the world, pretty amazing. And like I say, they're either solo pooled or solo staking or pooled staking or on centralized exchanges. It's pretty neat, and so forth. So I think that's kind of highlight there. Let us jump back to here and have a look through any of the other comments here. Block proposer, a chosen validator. So this gets back to, we talked about everyone doing the attestation out of 120 validators, but one of them, it becomes the block proposer. So the chosen validator by the beacon chain to propose the next block. There can only be one valid block per slot. And of course we see that on the slots here. And of course we can see the proposer. See the proposer down here? And that's a proposer that got selected. That's one particular validator. This one here is number 440,000 validator. And remember, we have 514,000 to choose from. So that's kind of cool. This one here is number 63,692. They got to choose be the proposer for the particular block. So that's kind of neat. Fits in there. So there can only be one valid block there. Block status, of course, proposed, scheduled, missed, skipped, and orphaned. And we can see that there. So proposed, scheduled, we can see that actually on the Explorer there. We've got proposed in here. You can see that. The next one we'll probably get is scheduled coming up here. We'll probably find one of those that is proposed. Proposed, the block passed and was proposed by a validator. Very cool. And then, of course, the scheduled validators are currently submitting data if it's scheduled. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can find something scheduled. We did have a scheduled one there before. We've got all these proposed in there at the moment. Now, obviously, you can view more by clicking view more. So that's kind of cool. We got missed and skipped. The proposer didn't propose the block within the given time. So the block was missed or skipped. So 12 seconds in the case of Ethereum, 10 seconds in the case of Pulsechain. Orphaned, in order to understand this, just look at the diagram below. And of course, that's got a bigger breakdown. We're not going to go through all of that, but they can sort of see what that's all about. We've got deposited, validated lifestyle. 32 ETH has been deposited to the ETH1 deposit contract. In this state will be kept for around 7 hours. This offers security in case the ETH1 chain gets attacked. Pending, waiting for activation on ETH2 before validators enter the validation queue. They need to be voted in by one of the active validators. Isn't that crazy? So there's a really lot of checks and balances in the system. This occurs every 4 hours. So every 4 hours. So that's pretty kind of cool. 5 validators per epoch. It's got a little bit of an explanation there. We're not going to go through all that. Active validator there, current attesting and proposed blocks. The block proposer, the validator will stay active until its balance drops below 16 ETH. Rejected, voluntary exit, or gets slashed. Slashing validator has been malicious and will be slashed and kicked out of the system. A penalty is a negative reward for going offline. A slashing is a large penalty. And of course, 132 of the balance of the stake. Ouch, man, that's pretty harsh. And a forceful exit. So there we are. Existing validator ejected. The validator balance fell below the threshold and was kicked out by the network. Exited, voluntary exit. The withdrawal key holder has the ability to withdraw the current balance of the corresponding validator balance. So it's kind of cool. Now we do have finalization there in ETH 2.0. At least 2/3 of the validators have to be honest. Therefore, if there are two competing epochs and one third of the validators decide to be malicious, they will receive a penalty. Honest ones will be rewarded. So there's checks and balances in the system for the validators. In order to determine if an epoch has been finalized, validators have to agree on the latest 2 epochs in a row. Justified, then all previous epochs can be considered as finalized. That's the process of confirming the blocks there. It's kind of cool. We sort of see a breakdown here as well. So we've got finalized yes or no. And of course, we can see it in real time with the finalized yes or no. So we've got these ones here. This is the latest one here on the epoch. And we can see that at the top here, that is the epoch ticking away. That's just been completed. So we've got to have the next epoch. It's going to be 180,196. It's going to pop up. and of course then I'll have to fill 32 different slots with different blocks. Now each slot doesn't have to have a block in it, as we saw. If you miss a slot, then it moves on to the next one, but you would either have a block in there and of course a certain amount of transactions. I think typically you might have like 180 transactions or more, because all sorts of number of transactions in there, but a lot of the blocks I've seen have had that. So let's have a quick look at one of the blocks here. We're going to go to the last one here, and it's proposed. Let's quickly check in on that, and we can see quite a bit of activity. We see the epoch, the slot number, we see the recipient fee, the fee recipient there. We've got the transaction reward 0.035 Ether for this particular block. Proposed but not finalized 18 seconds ago, the proposer. We can see the validator there. We've got the block root there. That is the hash there. We've got the parent root there as well, the state root. So we're getting familiar with these terminologies with some of the updates that Richard's been given, about block root, parent root, and state root there. The signature, the Randall reveal. I'm not familiar with that myself. Let me know in the chat if you are. Graffiti, ETH data there, the block hash, the deposit account, the deposit root there as well. We've got the sync aggregation there, participation 97.27 out of all the validators. And of course, then we've got the execution payload. So we've got the block number, the block hash, the parent hash, the fee recipient, the reward, the gas used, which is pretty cool, and the gas limit. So that's pretty standard gas limit, and that's exactly what we see on the Aragon testnet for Pulsechain at the moment. So that's kind of cool. Base fee per gas as well, burn fees in here, and transactions as well. So we're going to obviously have this base fee and burning as well on the Pulsechain, right? So it's going to be cool to see that. And of course, with 10-second block time, it's going to be affect the APYs, the validators, the burning, and all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be pretty fun to see that. As test stations here, 128 votes here, 15,981 voting validators, 15,981. Remember, this had not been finalized, and so on. So that's kind of cool. Let's back out of this block and go back down a bit further down. These are all proposed, so we might have to go quite far in the past there to see how many there are. There's so many, and we've probably got heaps that we're gonna have to probably go for a few hours to find ones that have been finalized. So it's kind of cool. It might take ages to find one. We're already back an hour and 30 minutes here. So just scrolling back here, it might be quite a few hours. I'm not sure how many hours it's going to be, but we've all got proposed at the moment. Tick, 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 tock. Back 5 hours already. Oh, we might leave that because it's going to take us too long. Who knows when it's going to pop up. But that is one of the blocks. We're trying to look for the finalized status. So that's in the glossary there. Finality issues. If there are less than 66% of the votes participation rate in a specific epoch, the epoch cannot be justified as mentioned in finalizing. 3 justified epochs in a row are required to reach finality. As long as the chain cannot reach this state, it has finality issues. During finality issues, the validator entry queue will be halted and new validators will not be able to join the network. However, inactive validators with less than 16 ETH balance will be kicked out of the network. This leads to more stability in the network and higher participation rate there. So that's some of the cool stuff there. There's quite a few other things here on the knowledge base, but we're going to jump through that. We won't go through the attestation. I mean, that's quite a bit of detail there, but that does give you a lot more details about the process with the chain and attestation, obviously, of the block. So it's kind of cool. Also goes through the rewards, the base reward as well, and other different cool things in there. So it's different, pretty neat. Now I'm going to, you can actually find it on the actual site here from Beacon Chain. So you can actually just scroll up here, and actually not there. Let me just scroll down the bottom. There's a bottom here. Not that one either. All right, let's scroll down to the bottom here. You can actually find all the stuff down the bottom here as well. I'm just trying to find where I got the ISO where I'm going. So at the menu here, you can get the epochs and slots, blocks, and transactions, and the meme pool itself. You can also go to the validators here, look at the overview, slashings, validator leaderboard, etc. You can go to the dashboard as well and post in any of these validator index, etc. ETH addresses. So it's kind of cool. Let's have a quick look at the epochs by themselves. So you can just scroll to that. You can just scroll to the slots as well. You can see the scheduled ones here and the validators that are proposers and so on. So slashings, let's look at some slashings there. some slashings. So slash validators, ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Slash by this person here. So another one. And of course, 45 days age attestation violation. Gives you the slot and epoch as well. So naughty, naughty, naughty. That's all we can say. We've got the validator leaderboard. So this one here, index, public key. Remember they have a private key and a public key when you validate balance here, 33.27 ETH. Income day 1, income day 7, 31 days, and income 1 year there. So 1.27 for this validator with 33. So not too bad, not too shabby. All right, that is some interesting stuff there. Let's go back to the homepage. And of course, you can see that the validators have been increasing. And of course, the staked ETH has been increasing as well. So popular is the ETH chain. But of course, the Pulsechain is going to have its own setup there with its own view. And of course, we'll be able to see the epochs and the chains. And of course, we're going to have 10-second block times. So it's going to be fun to see that. Now, Bretep, one of the devs in the Pulsechain team, did a post a little while ago about the validators. And of course, he was talking about the fact that, you know, at the moment on the proof of work system on the testnet that we have 3-second block times. Well, we did. Now they're deprecated to about 7 seconds a lot of the time. But if we only had a max of 32 validators, in other words, not that many validators, a 2-second block time is achievable. 2,000 plus validators, not so much. So obviously we're expecting to have thousands of validators on Pulsechain. And of course, if Ethereum's got over 500,000, I'm sure we'll have plenty as well. Obviously, you need 32 million. So there's a theoretical maximum there, but I think it's going to be fun to see that play out. So pretty cool. All right, let's see who else is in the house. What are the comments? I'm going to jump back to the chain again. Are we up that one? No, we're on that one. That one there. All right, so cool. We've got the blocks down here, so we're going to leave it on there for a second. We're going to jump over to the Hex price and have a look at that. That's kind of all I wanted to cover on the chain. Let us see who's got some comments in the chat. Brian says, almost 2 a.m. Boss, I am not retaining this info. We'll have to watch again. Good night, folks. Says Brian. Hey, night to you. What else there? We got Grand Prix says it's taken a while, but people are finally seeing that RH has been right all along. Kraken, the latest to lose. The staking mix and Hex is true DeFi. We know it. Yeah. So everyone's talking about staking in the chat there. Hex Huddle started the trend. What else? We've got Property View in the house. Hey, Property View, good to see you. Nice. And we've got Jack Handy as well. Good to see Jack Handy also. So how we doing for time? 33 minutes. That's pretty good. All right. Let's jump over to that's sort of our basic coverage of how the ETH chain works. There with the blocks and slots and epochs and validators and attestation. It's kind of a cool overview. And of course, I did post the links to some of those if you want more information in the chat. I will be covering different topics on this as we lead up to Pulsechain fork. So that's going to be cool too. And let's jump out of all this and let's go over to the Hex price. Hex price there pumping up and cool. Richard posted an update at 4 o'clock this morning my time. So let's see how long ago that is. 4 hours plus 4 and that's another 6. So 16 hours ago. 16 hours ago, Richard posted the bug slayer. And of course, it was probably better not to post it, but hey, just the way you go. Sometimes it happens, right? And of course, let's have a look on the hourly chart here and see how this has played out. So obviously, we had this beautiful rally. We had the big whale set up to help make this happen. This big liquidity wall, and people had to go over the top. And it did end up playing out, did end up working there. Obviously, with Pulsechain updates and other things going really well. We had also got rid of at least 4 big whales. Let's go back to the 4 hourly. We also got rid of all those big 4 whales down here. DO1, one of the famous ones there, and that was kind of cool. And then, of course, we ended up just rallying and got set up here. So where did we get set up? We got set up around about this mark here. So around about 4.6 cents. And then we got pushed up to here. And then, of course, down we came. We came down and that got tested. I think that was where we happened on that calendar there. And then, of course, we rallied up, eventually getting up to 5.6 cents. But this was the resistance line at 5.6. If we busted out of there, man, oh man, it would have been crazy. Even 10 cents was potentially in the game as the AMM plays out there. it would have been crazy. But of course, rejected there twice on the hourly. It's kind of where we got there. I think it was on the hourly there. Let me just open this up. Yeah, 2 hours there. We got rejected, and down we came. We're coming down. We got down to about just over 5 cents. And then we had a nice little rally in the morning there, up to 4 o'clock in the morning my time. And of course, we got up to about 5.18, so it was doing pretty good there. Had a good chance of possibly moving forward, although the stock market was tanking because of the interest rate reversal, the 2-year and 10-year, 85 basis points there, and also we had a bit of bad news around the tech companies. And then, of course, we also had crypto pulling back a bit later. Crypto pulled back a bit later, so it actually held up for a while. And then, of course, down we came on the news. So Richard posted the fact that they were bug slaying, and of course, I didn't think it was something that needed to be posted. We like updates, but you must as well keep that stuff to yourself and just get it to the end of the line before we get the testnet. It'll give us some other stuff. But in any case, the plebs, the traders, and maybe it was a good thing. The traders there got wrecked because they all sold down, and we sold down all the way down to 4.2 cents. Very important that we held that line at 4.2, 4.3, and we did. So this used to be a bit of resistance here, and ended up being support, and we have rallied from then there as well with a lot more wiser heads, I guess, realizing that, hey, it's not that bad news, just testing. Is it normal to have bugs and you work through them? And of course, the positive was, I think it got out to people that were basically the blocks were 99%, 99.987 or something. It was the blocks through. There was only maybe not that high. It was about 16,000 blocks left, and we're talking about 16.6 million or whatever it is, and got pretty much close to that. So the market's sort of the rational. Maybe all the rec plebs, the traders got sold down here, and of course fear and FUD comes in, so people jump onto that, and then it bounced off a pretty important resistance there. Support potentially, and has bounced off there. So that's given us a nice support level there, which was previously resistance on these ones. And of course, now we're up to 4.79, and looks like we're going to keep going at this stage. Barring any big whale coming in and trying to change the trend, but that is pretty positive. So we've had 679 buys over the last 24 hours, 473 sells, so 58% buy. And of course, on the volume, which is more important there, the volume is unfortunately to the downside, and that was mostly in here. And you can see the volume down the bottom there. That was 8 million versus 6.9 million. But let's have a look at the last 6 hours, because this is looking even better. So that's the last 9 hours. So we're going to look at the last 6. Last 6 hours, we had 172 buys and 74 sells, so 69% on the activity, on the trades. But more importantly, the volume flipped, and we got 68% buy volume, 2 million versus 963,000. Thank you very much. And of course, we're way back up there pretty nicely. Actually, let's bounce this off. Back up 14%, which is nice. We'll see if we can. Obviously, it's going to may try and attempt to get the 5 cents. Sometimes they cut a bit short there. They might get the 5.8, 5.9, get a bit of resistance. We'll see. As you can see, this was previously resistance, 4.8, 4.9. Let's see if we can break that. It'll be a pretty powerful move. And of course, you want to consolidate up there somewhere, don't you? Over the 5 cents if you can make it. And then, of course, itch your way up over the weekend, perhaps Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, it's Friday here in Kiwi land, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, US time, and move on the way up. That'd be a pretty good, nice move, because we might have a terrifying storm here on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday or something, if it plays out that way. We could have, apparently it could be a storm for 100 years. It doesn't sound too good to me. And it's talking about 150k winds. And of course, we don't want the roofs of the house falling off, do we? We don't want the roof falling off. That'd be pretty crazy. All right, so we're going to worry about that. But if we get a Hex price bump, maybe that's going to make everything all right. Make everything all right there. All right, so that is pretty much where we are. We got 8.3 million liquidity there at the moment. And we've still got working up here. It's currently 10 p.m. in the evening, can you believe, on Friday. So the weekend is almost upon us, the party time, Friday and Saturday nights. Let's have a look at crypto and have a look at BTC. So BTC did break down there. It's at 21,900, up down 3.6. And Ethereum there down 5%, almost at 1,556 there. BNB at 309. So that's kind of that. Some of the other chains, though, even worse. So you got Solana there down a lot. That's down 7.67. And of course, AVAX is down 8%. So there's a few ones there. Dodge down 6.5. ADA down 6%. They're all on the dark red there. The standout performer has been for the stables has been USDC over PEG, so that's kind of cool. So that is where we are at the moment. Let's jump over to the liquidity for Hex. Let's give it a refresh. This is V3 liquidity. So we're gonna have a look at this. And so how have we got going here? Let's have a look. The liquidity. Bam. Let's do it. I think we might have to play the horn just to play up. That's for you, Hex Huddle. Let's keep you up there. What did you say? It was 12:30, 1 o'clock. That's cool. That's fine. Let's do it. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so this liquidity looks very different to what we had when we were on the pump, right? When we were on the pump here, the pump up here, the liquidity was set up by Whale, and of course we had nothing on this side, on the sell side, the ask side, and we had the price there sitting about to go supernova if it got over 5.6 cents, but now it's looking kind of normal now. We have got all this buy wall in here. There's all the bids. And these are all, not too bad. They're like 70,000 each line here on the bids. And then we've got the Hex on the sell side, 1.5 million. These are about 1.5 million here. So what's that, about $80,000, something like that, is it? Or something like that, each of these. So in that place. So that's kind of where we are. And it goes all the way up to these blocks. So we end up at 5.7 here and 6 cents up here now. So 6 cents is where we start getting those sellers in. So let's see. All we need is some big buyer to come in and deal with that. That would be pretty cool. Let's go to look into Hex. Actually, let's look into Hex and have a look at the whole view of liquidity. Because that was just V3, the biggest trading pair. We can see USDC here, 46.5% is the biggest pull. And we've got Hedron there's pretty big, 21%, and Hex ETH there's 21%. We're going to jump down to the bids though. We've got bids at 10.4 million and asks at 7.7. So this has actually changed around when I did the live stream earlier today because this had flipped the other way, right? So this was 60% on the ask, I think, and 40% on the bid. We're now almost flipped that. Now it's 60% almost on the bid. So things are getting back, looking better. That being said, of course, we will have a bit of a zigzag if we continue to push up here, but definitely has switched in our favor. You can't keep Pulsechain down, is that what we say? I think so. The Pulse Tube's in the house there. Yo, yo, yo. Not caught you live for a while. Yeah, you're lucky I'm doing a second live stream, a special one here, just covering how Ethereum works. And of course, it's going to be a bit of a glimpse into the future of Pulsechain fork. So we've covered that already. Just to check in on the back end here of the live stream with Hex price as we're on this rally, which is pretty cool. Give a big shout out for that. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, it's cool. So I'm going to be doing a couple other topics around Ethereum and Pulsechain, just as a general educational sessions. We're going to do a couple extra ones covering different topics. So I think it's kind of important as we move into Pulsechain that we might as well make the most of it and get educated a bit more about the more technical sides of things, rather than what we mostly care about, which is value. Right? You care mostly about value, how you're making mad gains. Some people care more about drama, but not on this channel. We care more about value and mad gains. That's pretty much it. If you haven't checked out the PulseTube's website, it is pretty cool. In fact, let's pull it up while we're here, since PulseTube's here. The PulseTube. This is the PulseTube site. The PulseTube. Let me know if there's anything you want me to point out on this site, because I know you've been adding new features onto it. Cool, man. I'll be listening and whilst I work. Nice one there, PulseTube. There's the PulseTube site here. If you haven't checked it out, it is very cool. And this is probably the biggest site easy around Pulsechain streamers and other topics like that. So definitely check that out. That is that there. So cool. And of course, you can see at the top here, I think you added, yeah, this is one of the new section, the latest nuggets. So these are 2 to 6 minutes long, I think. And you can sort of switch between these and see the latest videos from different influencers in the Hex and Pulsechain community and so on. So that's kind of cool. What else we got going on here? We've got live schedule. Let's have a look at live schedule. Hey, look at live schedule. Hey, we're Hex Token. Whee! That's how we roll. Now, Hodl Dog, Hodl Dog is a hodler because he's playing this relaxing 24/7 music non-stop. So he's always up there. That's how you get good advertising, folks. Hodl Dog has got the smarts because he's 24/7 listening to beats, relaxing and chill. I wonder how many people he's got listening to that at the moment. That'd be pretty interesting. Anyway, we've got some other YouTubers coming up here as well on the time. They've got their live streams scheduled. Here you can find them all on the live podcast, which is pretty neat. What else we got here? We got Pulsechain. If you want to focus on a Pulsechain topic, we got Pulsechain. So it's kind of cool. You got all the different channels talking about Pulsechain. We've got PulseX. If you want to focus on PulseX, that's pretty cool. The PulseTube says, yeah, Hodl Dog is gaming the system, but we love him. Yeah, PulseTube says, yeah, that's a master play. That's a master play from Hodl Dog. We got the PulseX. If you want to find out more about PulseX, you got YouTubers talking about their influences. What else there? You got Hex, of course, the Hex.com. Check it out in the video description. We've got Hex.com influencers, all about that, so it's pretty cool. And this is the most comprehensive on influencers. I think there's one or two other sites that are reasonable, but this is none of them get close to this with the influencers. So it is pretty impressive there. NFTs. If you want to focus on NFTs, which is not so much we hear about, but influencers need to do more comments about that. I've been meaning to do one on the NFT platforms again because it's been a while since I've talked about those. You got Gerardo, Fashion Coder, people like that, Top Gun Hexadian, barely a brand, so lots of people that you're probably aware of there. We've got projects as well, so I haven't actually looked at this one. I guess it's project teams. Yeah, it is. Project teams here, BNB, What's the Free Pulse, and different influencers talking about that, I guess. Yeah, there's general influencers there talking about that. What else? We've got meme coins. Obviously, there's always lots of meme coins. We're going to have lots of meme coins on Pulsechain. So that's kind of cool. We got a Fashion Coder doing little shorts here. Dogecoin, the meme coin that is making people rich. Meme coin 101, understand the basics. That's kind of funny. So that's cool. What else we got there? We got meme coins tag index. I guess if you want to look under a particular word for project or concept or Pulsechain or something like that, token, and then you can check all these cool tags. It's quite useful. Then we've got community. We've got all channels. So if you want to see every single influencer in the space, then you can check out on here by alphabetical order, which is cool. But you can also do the latest. I guess I'm not sure what latest means. Does it mean latest one that's streamed or the latest YouTuber that's come onto the platform? Maybe that's what it means, the latest on the platform. It's got your friend Somi, so I'm pretty sure he's just started streaming a lot and his channel's blowing up. Random, we've got random channels, so you can just select by randomness. And you've got under 100 subs, and then you've got under, so for 100 subs, you can see all the YouTubers there. It's kind of cool. I see Pulsechain Zone's just about to go over 1,000. Staker app as well. Black Crypto there. So at the top there, under 5,505 subs. Got all the YouTubers here now. Heinz Crypto has just jumped out of the under 1,000 subs. He's now in the under 555. So congratulations to him. And you've got lots of well-known influencers in this list. You've got SJ Wild, Mini, Motley Crue, just everybody just about. Funding Jim, David Feder, Fashion Coder. You've got Jake Sharp here. He's catching up. He's almost out of the 555. He's at 5,370. So good luck to all of them. They're all doing good jobs in their topics. Then we've got over 5,505 subs. And of course, we've got Belliot Brand at the beginning. Woohoo! Go Belliot. We've got Hex Token there, number 4 there. So I've got a bit of work to do to climb up here. But number 4, not too bad. And what else we got going here? Lots of other there. Rags to Riches, of course. My Life is Awesome. Pulsechain, ping. Hex, ping. I love that guy. He's pretty crazy. Rags to Riches, of course. Randy Alasky, man, some big influences here. Who else there? Crypto Heartbeat, Crypto Graphics, Discord Syndicate. Maddie Allen, of course, does all the big Hex conferences and daily shows. Or is it daily shows every 2 days, maybe? Something like that. And then Hexologist, of course. The one that was on D-Live and held the line during when YouTube used to have the purges. I told you my original Hex channel got purged. Part of the YouTube purged in 2020, and a lot of channels got pulled down. I think Hexo's channel got pulled down on YouTube too. So it was pretty hard. YouTube was going through some weird anti-crypto thing at the time in 2020. Then we've got K4K up there, Hodl Dog, Crypto Coffee, of course, who's kind of probably the biggest native Pulsechain Hex YouTuber. And then, of course, you got Million Orb on the Moon, who's sort of a convert, I would say, to Pulsechain Hex. And then, of course, at the top, the founder, Richard Art, with a whopping 150,000 YouTubers subscribers. And, of course, he hasn't streamed that often on there for a while now. But well done to Richard on there, of course. Very, very cool. So it's a very cool list there. You can check other things out as well. News. there's news on the channel. You can check that. There's daily news there, weekly live streams. So that's the news there. There's what else there? Live streams, interviews, podcasts, ladies of crypto. So if you the ladies are really starting to ramp up, and you can see lots here. Fashion Coder, SA Wild, Jory Hex there. So doing great jobs as well. I didn't realize how much shorts. Everybody's starting to do shorts. Have you noticed? Because on YouTube they monetize shorts on February. Also people doing TikTok as well. The TikTok influencers there too. You can see the shorts here actually, shorts and TikTok. So that's just below the ladies section. Let's have a quick look at that. So you've got all the TikToks that now a lot more of the YouTubers in Hex and Pulsechain space are doing them on YouTube and Pulsechain. You've seen on this channel we've started to do them, and of course I think they've got their own sort of unique things to get them picked up, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, so very neat there. What else we got here? We've got music. If you like music, we've got that. So there's a lot of artists in the community, so it's kind of neat. What else? We've got Hall of Fame. I'm not sure what the Hall of Fame is, but we'll find out. Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. I'm not sure what makes it to the Hall of Fame, but there's a Hall of Fame if you want to check that out. Now, this one here is a classic, right? This one with Richard Hart and Craig Wright. Are you Satoshi? If you haven't seen that, you got to watch that video. That's hilarious. This is also a very good clip as well. If you want to learn more about Pulse Swap or PulseX, then you should watch that. That's quite a cool video. What else? We've got then languages. We've got different languages in there. It's kind of cool. And then there's some learning stuff, onboarding, how-tos. Let's have a quick look at the onboarding. I haven't actually looked at these myself, so we'll have a quick look at these onboarding videos. That's kind of cool from influencers, and how-to videos from influencers, no doubt. So it's kind of cool, how-tos. So lots of videos there. And security. If you want to watch videos on security, like Papa B and other people like that, then there's videos here. So I see that Jim Crypto's got one, crypto security basics. It's kind of cool. What else? Macroeconomics. So this is obviously we talk about that on this channel, but this will be people like Wales Only and people like that are covering economics. Top Gun Hexadian, people like that as well. So who else there? Taxes. And if you got issues with taxes, you want to think about that. Obviously, you always should get a professional tax advice. But if you want to have some generic stuff, content to watch, there's YouTubers are covering that to some degree as well. So it's kind of cool. Remember always to seek financial advice there. Then there's a new book here, Second Crypto Revolution, and some advertising from the looks of it. So very, very cool site here. And of course, we've got the Pulse Tube in the chat there today, which is pretty neat to have the founder and developer. Let's have a look at some of his comments. Obviously, I just went through the website. Hopefully, I did a reasonable job of that. What else there? Tag index menu is handy. Shows everything. Says the Pulse Tube there. Latest is the latest that we've added to the system. Yeah, I think I worked it out because Somni has just moved from Twitter as an influencer into YouTube and doing a great job at that as well. Hex Hodler says, I like how the Pulse Tube does not discriminate channels. I love that too. And I've said that often, is that Pulse Tube just lets people do what they want to do. And I think that's pretty neat. Obviously, obviously they cover Pulsechain and Hex to some degree, but it's pretty nice how it's just neutral on the platform. I like that. Nice, and although I'm already subbed to the Hex PLS channels, any new ones I can spot on there. Yeah, so Hex Hodler is probably one of the biggest community watchers of influencers. Probably knows just about everything about just about every influencer out there. A big shout out to you. Obviously, there's many of you out there also that are very passionate as well in terms of learning and being part of the community. Francis has got the fires in there. Very nice. Hex Hodler says, I also like the Pulse Hot List. Yeah, so the Pulse Hot List is a bit different, isn't it? It's less about influencers and more about project valuations that are going to be on Pulsechain. So that's kind of cool. Pshaj says, whoa, yesterday Hex daily payouts 6.87. No one loves the daily payout more than Briz. Hey, Briz, that's not entirely true. I know someone else that may love it more than you, Briz. But it was epic. The payout of 6.87 was really amazing. Pulse Tube says, if you go to, was it RH, we show all the RH videos no matter which channel he's on. If you go to RH, is there a button on there? Let me have a look out there. If I missed that, let me have a look, see whether I missed that. RH. There's the Hex Museum. What is Hex? Onboarding, how-tos, airdrops. Where's the RH one? Is that up? Did I miss that one? Can't believe I missed the RH one. Let's have a look here. No, I can't see the RH there. Are you talking about the channel itself? Maybe you're talking about the channel itself. Let's go to the channel. RH. Maybe that's Richard Hart. Is that going to take me to Richard Hart there? Let's look here. Yes, so if you go to, actually, if you click on the actual faces, it will take you to a special page just for the influencer, in this case, Richard Hart. That's kind of neat. So look all the videos of Richard. That's so cool. You can also tweet them out, which is neat. You've got a little tweet there. You can tweet them out. Twitter Spaces as well. Get out of here. That's cool. Vintage pics. Nice. Trail of bodies. All the people that that Richard's destroyed. Random searches. You can search as well by titles and timestamps, and phrase search also. That's cool on Hex Search. Yeah, Hex Search is great. So very cool. Nice work on this. Very nice work indeed. And of course, you can't get past. What are you up to? All channels. Let's go to Hex Token channel. Let's free self promotion. Where's Hex Token channel? Must be somewhere down here. There we are, over there. Bam. All right. Let's see what the page looks. I haven't actually looked at the Hex Token page on there. That's sad. All right, we got Twitter and YouTube and Discord. It's kind of cool. And all the pictures there. So that's really neat. Isn't that cool? That is very cool. Heaps of pages, of course, because we've done so many videos. But that is very neat indeed. So a big shout out for that one. Thanks there to the Pulsechain. Keyword search RH indeed is in the path. Oh, that is the end of the URL. Yeah, that will do it. Nice. Finally caught up to you on that one. But Hex Huddle doesn't lol, says Hex Huddle. Hex Huddles is not on there. Briz work also. Yeah, Briz is on there. I'm pretty sure Briz has Briz should be on there. Let's go to have a quick look at Briz's channel. Brizology. Ballet brand. Oh, Briz is not. Oh yeah, Brizology. Briz, your channel's not on there. You'll have to get upgraded. Briz needs an upgrade. Bring on Briz. We're petitioning. We're petitioning the Pulsechain. Bring Brizology's channel on. Maybe it's got a different name, but I'm pretty sure it's Brizology. Maybe post the link there, Briz, in the chat there, and the Pulsechain can add you a page. That'd be pretty nice. Right, so that's pretty cool. So a big shout out to the Pulsechain. Thanks so much for doing it as well. Obviously, it's a huge asset to the Pulsechain Hex community, and of course, it's a one-stop shop. It really is a fantastic site for everybody to go, find out your favorite influencer or look at a particular topic or format that you want, and you'll find it on here. Very neat. So that's kind of cool. Meantime, the Hex price is trying to rally back. It's at 4.737 cents here at the moment. 4.737 cents. Yeah, that's right. And not doing too bad on the comeback. Getting over 5 cents, that would be a power move, right? We want power. We want power moves. 5 cents is the power move. Bring it on, market. Pulsechain's coming. Hex is the proxy for Pulsechain. You can't get Pulse, but you can buy Hex. So just remember that. Not financial advice, of course. Not financial advice. Brizology says, "Lol, yeah. Brizology did not pay me anything for the petitioning of this of his channel. Yeah, send me your channel, bro," says Pulsechain. Nice. What's up, you all? Check my pulse in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, we're just having a bit of a fun time. We started the video off around how Ethereum works. Of course, that's going to be a bit of what did I write? A bit of a glimpse of the future of Pulsechain. And we're going to do different topics around that, more technical topics. And hopefully I'll do it earlier in the day, so I'm not as tired as I am now, because it is getting pretty late here, 10:30, and I have had a big day. I've been doing lots of different things, preparing the house for the storm of the century. So hey, I might end up in the Wizard of Oz house by the time the storm comes. We'll probably float out through the roof or something. That might end up being the case. Thanks, man, says the Pulsechain. Nice, you're welcome, of course. It's my username, Brizology, says on YouTube. Nice, very cool. Smog says 2 streams today. Big effort, Mr. Hex Token. Yeah, 2 streams. And 2 streams, Smog, because I wanted to talk more about the more technical sides of the blockchains, just as a fun thing, because I think, we often focus on value in crypto, and it's good to get a bit more into the technical sides of how chains work. and obviously we're going to have Pulsechain coming, so they're going to be very similar. 4:30 a.m. here in Massachusetts, getting my coffee. Man, check my pulse. That is early. Are you just getting out for work, or you are you gaming through the night? Let us know. Check my pulse. I missed the 2 streams a day last summer, says Hex Token. Yeah, it was pretty. Moved from 2 streams to 1 stream, didn't I? So that's just the way it goes. What else there? 1:30 a.m. here, and I'm going to be up all night, says Hex Token. Well, I hope you got into McD's first before you closed down there, Hex Token. I know that you went to the other place. I can't remember what it was called now. PulseTube, Brizology, cool. I'll add you on the next update. Ching ching! Upgrade, Briz. You got upgraded. Ching ching. That's how Briz rolls. I mean, that's how the PulseTube rolls. Everyone rolls like I don't know what was I going to say there. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, everyone probably. All right. Check my pulse. Is off to work. Nice. At 4:30 in the morning there. All right, everybody, we're up to an hour. So I'm going to wrap up now. Hope you guys have had a good time. Brazil said someone just got upgraded. Indeed, you did. And we've got to say magical. All right, I hope you guys have had a good time. Yeah, I hope if you watch this after the live stream, leave a comment and I'll get back to that. We're going to do more around Ethereum blockchain, Pulsechain blockchain. So it should be fun. All right. Have a good evening wherever you are around the world, and take care. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell. And I'll see you in Discord. That is 24/7. The link's in the video description. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the Hex pump. The pump is out there somewhere. That's all we can say. The pump is out there somewhere. All right. Let's find out the back. What am I doing here? We're going here. All right. Take care, everybody. Bam.